Alright, The Witcher 3 is getting a free remastered/enhanced version, whatever they call it, for the next generation of consoles as well as PC. But, other than looking prettier with all the ray tracing, will it actually include any changes or additions to the story? Well, since they did it in the enhanced editions of the previous two games, I'm going to assume that they will do so again. And with that said, here are several things that I wish they would add or change in the new release. And admittedly, my wishes would be relatively small in scale, because after all, the game has already had two massive expansions, as well as a few added scenes with Triss, on top of the 3 new quests in the free DLCs, so it may be too much to hope for entire new story arcs being added in this new upgrade.
There's a lighthouse not far from here, you know.
Geralt, are you suggesting we...
No. Well, at least not right now.
Oh, and this video will likely contain massive spoilers, so be warned. Okay, number 1. And I suppose I'm starting from the end, but why not? I wish that they would include a way for both Ciri and Dandelion to visit your home in Blood and Wine, even if you have an ongoing romance. And let me clarify that I don't simply want all 3 scenes to play one after the other, because that would be kinda weird. Instead, I want, for example, the romance scene to play as it is, culminating with Triss or Yennefer going to the bench and later to the bedroom, and then afterwards, maybe a day or so later, let there be a new scene, a completely new scene where Ciri and Dandelion visit you together. Of course, there could be variations to that scene based on the ending of the base game, and after that, Dandelion can go to the porch while Ciri goes under the tree, and if you talk to them, that would then trigger their original scenes where Dandelion talks about Priscilla and Ciri talks about her papa, or whatever it happens to be.
I'm only here because Emir concluded I must get to know what I'll rule once I take the throne.
Now, of course, you could further expand that by having the love interest meet Ciri and Dandelion alongside Geralt, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Number 2 is once again about Ciri actually, but this time it's way back in Kaer Morhen when she returns. I think that we should have at least a brief reunion scene between her and Yennefer. Something that's more substantial than this hug here. Based on the kind of relationship that they have in the books, I think it's a good idea to have a slightly longer exchange between the two, potentially even not involving Geralt at all. It could, for example, happen after the briefing for the Battle of Kaer Morhen. You know how we get a scene where Geralt is worried and Lambert shows up? Well, right before that or right after that, we could cut to a scene between Ciri and Yen, which establishes that their relationship was fairly strong and important for both of them, and so on and so forth. And if not here, then I suppose it could also take place later on in Dandelion's establishment, at some point after the battle with Imlerith. So yeah, a scene like that would be great. And that's all I had for my second wish.
Maybe I'll give you 2 a moment.
Triss, please.
No, you must have missed each other terribly. A minute's delay won't hurt anyone.
No, we should get going. They're waiting for us.
Now moving on to the third, which is about none other than Lorveth. We need Lorveth in The Witcher 3. I doubt there is a single person who enjoyed The Witcher 2 that would disagree. Both he and Roach were quite the memorable characters in my opinion, and I would have loved to have seen them both on screen together. In fact, it seems that Lorveth was initially supposed to be part of the game, but for some reason his content was just cut out. If I'm not mistaken, Saskia was potentially about to be involved as well, which of course can make things even better. They could once again cross paths with Philippa Eilhart, choices from The Witcher 2 could matter, and I'm getting ahead of myself here, but if we can't have that much, then at least let Lorveth appear and do something meaningful. Maybe they already have some kind of half-functioning quest with him that they can finish and implement into the game, or perhaps a quest similar to that of Letho, where you can end up recruiting Lorveth in the Battle of Kaer Morhen. Anything like that would be great.
My favourite type of magic. Lesbomancy.
Okay, number 4. Probably the smallest change I would like to see, and it is, well, 3 things actually, and they're all exclusive to the English version of the game. So, first off, the voice acting of Millie in the Wolf and Cat quest. Second, the delivery of Geralt's voice lines during the sequence with the crones.
Touch me more, boy. Touch me more.
And third, Ciri's dialogue during her visit in Blood and Wine if you had the Witcher ending. Now let me elaborate. Millie, her voice acting sticks like a sore thumb, with her awfully fake and frankly weird crying and whatever that is. And since she doesn't have that many lines, I don't think it would be too much work to do it. Maybe they can get the Boot Black to voice her. I don't know, just anyone but whoever does it right now. As for Ciri and the Crones, Geralt and the Crones, he doesn't really sound bad there, just different than the rest of the game.
I'm looking for the woman with ashen hair. I know you met her. Where is she? You looked different in the tapestry.
We're all dressed up just for you.
If I'm not mistaken, this part of his dialogue was recorded separately from everything else. I think it had something to do with a presentation they did for a conference like E3 or Gamescom or something. But regardless, I think it would be nice to have him sound in a unified way throughout the whole game. And finally for Ciri, I believe there was some kind of mistake where she talks about drinking a black blood potion.
My greater worry was its strength. I was far outclassed there. But a dose of black blood did the trick. We fought a while, I feigned a mistimed dodge and let it drink. The rest was easy.
As far as we know, she hasn't undergone the mutations, the Witcher trials, and if she has, it needs to be explained. If I remember correctly in the books, it was said that no woman has survived the Witcher trials yet. Now, it could be due to her elder blood, or for some other reason, but if so, it once again needs to be addressed. Or if it's really a mistake in translation or something, then just change it or remove it entirely. And finally, for number 5, I have to wish something of a romantic nature. After all, what is The Witcher without a bit of romance? There are many characters that fans have wanted romances with. I know Ceres is a popular one, I personally approve. Tomira, of course, would be another one. She's probably too good to be true. And so is Philippa Eilhart. Anna Henrietta is another one, although she's kind of reserved for Dandelion. But jokes aside, it would have been great if we had an option to make Shani's romance a little more long-term, and not always ending in separation, and consequently to have her be the third potential love interest who shows up in Blood and Wine. It would have been great, but sadly, that would require a bit of retconning of Hearts of Stone, which they probably won't do, and honestly I don't recommend it either. So I think the only possible option that would make sense from both the game's and the book's perspective is actually Fringilla Vigo. She has quite the fiery romance with Geralt in the last book, and also for some reason has an incredibly short interaction with him in the games.
You look good.
For a captive of Emir, is that what you mean?
Seems like he's shown you surprising leniency. No interrogations, no torture. Or did you just tell him everything he wanted to know?
If I'd told him everything, he'd hardly still need me alive, wouldn't you say? Anyway, we shan't speak of it. I and what concerns me have not been a concern of yours for some time now.
So long.
Of course, I don't suggest that she should be given equal time as Yennefer or Triss or Shani, but perhaps a little more wouldn't hurt. She's also the cousin of Anna Henrietta, so perhaps she could have had a minor involvement in the story of Blood and Wine, maybe even a side quest, where ultimately she and Geralt could have had a brief thing going on, for old time's sake. With that said, I think I'm done. I suppose I can go on, but without having any more official information on the matter, I think that's enough for now. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think should be added or changed, or perhaps that the story should remain untouched. Alright, I'm off to look for a 4K monitor, I suppose, and in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Special thanks to my YouTube members and supporters on Patreon, and until the next video, stay tuned and be good.